Lisa, I am super excited about this show of ours where we get to explore the craft distillery industry.
Yep, me too, Mitch. Today we're in Corktown at 2 James Distilling, and as you can see, they've got a lot going on.
Coming here for a couple of years, and they have one of the best wait staffs and drinks anywhere in Detroit, Michigan.
I'm from Ann Arbor, and I always come to Detroit, and this is my hangout in Detroit.
It's a local kind of bar as well, but it's unique enough so it's not just like every other place that you'd go into in town.
I can't seem to get away from the bourbon. It's definitely my favorite.
2 James Distillery opened their tasting room doors in 2013. But why Detroit? What brought David Landrum, one of the founders of 2 James, to this historic Corktown neighborhood?
So I actually grew up about 4 miles that way, west of here. So coming back home was a big thing for me. But I think what separates us, obviously we're the first distillery in Detroit since Prohibition. So we're the first ones to bring this back to, my hometown, which feels great.
So 2 James Spirits, where does the name come from?
So when we were deciding what to call this concept that was just kind of burning around in our heads, we started throwing out these really cool sounding names. They sound great, but they really didn't mean anything. My father had passed away in 2000, really untimely, very young, and the other founder's father had passed away a few years prior to us starting this business. I had asked him, hey, by the way, what was your dad's name? And he said James. And it was kind of like that Blues Brothers moment with the light shining through. I was like, did a backflip and said 2 James, right? But no, that's what it was. I think I said James and James, and then I said 2 James, and that was it. So that really, on top of it being like a really good bar call, it's 2 syllables, it's kind of like everything they tell you when you name something to have. So besides that though, it took on a whole new meaning because now it's like, oh crap, now everything I do needs to be the best I can do it because it's honoring my father.
In addition to family pride, 2 James Spirits tries to use as many Michigan products as possible in their distilling process.
Definitely great agricultural abundance here. I believe it's second to California in terms of diversity in agriculture. So for our Catcher's Rye, it's 100% rye grain. We work primarily with a farm that's about 40 miles from the distillery. So we know the farmer, we go out there a lot, can see the rye grain being planted, harvested, and having that relationship with the farmer has been really rewarding and kind of makes it all extra special in that field to bottle experience.
I love bourbon, right? So I come in here, I know I'm gonna order bourbon, but I see that there are a lot of other varieties of products that you have. Can you tell me a little bit about what you guys offer?
Everything from absinthe to white whiskey. We do a smoked whiskey, 2 different kinds of gin, a barrel-aged gin.
This is actually our first barrel of rye whiskey. This is the one we always check, just to kind of see where the product's going.
Okay, very good.
It's getting close to, this is a little over 3 years old at this point, but we'll pull a little bit out.
And what's this tool that you've got here?
This is actually a whiskey thief, so it's a good name.
Oh yeah, I'll take some of your whiskey thief.
Give it a good whiff. It's a really kind of nice rye cereal note. Age is good. The older it gets, the better it gets usually, but there's sort of that tipping point. American whiskeys is about, the average age is 4 to 6 years. So that's that's the range that we're shooting for. Right now we're hand selecting barrels that are accidentally better than the other ones. So we pull some of the ones that are aging really well, that they're good quality oak, and it varies from barrel to barrel. We can barrel 4 to 5 barrels at one time, and one will stand out and just be head and shoulders above the rest, even though it's exactly the same. The ones that are really high quality right now are ready to go, and we don't want to let them sit around.
Well, it's a challenge of a product that has a timetable to it. It can't necessarily be rushed, even though different barrels are apparently blossoming at different times.
Yeah, there's late bloomers and there's early bloomers, like they say. Yeah. The best part about the job is really that experimentation and kind of starting with a good solid base in tradition, and then kind of seeing where that can take us, and finding our voice in the market is the key.
And people flock to the tasting room to try what 2 James has to offer. And don't worry if you're new to the craft distilling world, their staff is here to help.
Staff is fantastic, friendly, bright. They've got great recommendations of places to go if you want to go out to dine or get a bite to eat. They're just really knowledgeable and very experienced.
They have the best cocktails in town. Honestly, they do a great job.
The way this guy makes it right here, top notch, one of the best.
So Lisa, how you
So
doing?
Andreas, I'm well. How are you?
Doing wonderful.
I think it's drink time.
I think you're ready for it. You've been working hard all day. Let's get started with something.
What are we making first?
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a Sazerac. So traditionally, a Sazerac was invented in New Orleans, always made with rye whiskey, traditionally. So we're gonna use our Catcher's Rye, which has a lot of nice like dried fig, plum notes. It's not your average rye, it really shines through in a Sazerac. It's cool because we're also gonna be using our absinthe. So it's sort of like an all-inclusive resort. We have our absinthe and we have our rye. So we're gonna start with 1 Demerara sugar cube, some Peychaud bitters. So you're just gonna muddle that up. So we're just gonna add ice, and I'm gonna have you pour, just count to 4 seconds in there. Oh, you can keep going.
Oh, I thought you said 4.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Oh, that's a lot, I think.
No, that's perfect. So you can stir this.
All right.
Remember, just hold at the top like a little pencil. So I just put a little absinthe in here. We're just gonna do a little absinthe rinse.
Now, absinthe, it's pretty strong, isn't it?
It is. Ours is 120 proof. It's an old traditional French recipe. So then we're just gonna slowly pour that in the glass that's rinsed with the absinthe. Put a lemon peel in there. And there, you got a little Sazerac.
Delicious.
I just love drinking these, any setting, you know. It sort of brings me back, like I'm in New Orleans or something.
It has like a heritage kind of feel.
Absolutely.
The support we received in the tasting room has been just beyond our wildest dreams. So we get people who are locals who live in the neighborhood, so a lot of great regulars coming in from Corktown and different neighborhoods in Detroit. We get some people who travel in, but it's always been really just a great mix of people coming in.
This is one of the friendliest places in Detroit where you can come and meet people. I've probably met more interesting citizens of the city and people from other cities that come here than in any other establishment in Detroit.
I love that about it because we produce really great cocktails, not in a stuffy atmosphere. It's kind of like your local neighborhood bar with elevated libations.